once again to our online class of BSc second year analytical chemistry. I welcome all of you student friends. In last lecture we have learned about the instrumentation of spectroscopic method, visible spectroscopy, part 8 from this paper. We have not completed the instrumental part, whole instrumental part. Some parts is what remaining. So today we are going to learn about the remaining part of the instrumentation. So let's see in last lecture what we had learned. That is what instrumentations. The main instrumentation contains the source, filter or monochromator, sample cells and detectors. From this we had already seen that the source of the radiation as well as filters and monochromators. So today we are going to learn about the remaining part of this instrumentation, that is what the slit, sample cells and detector. So let's start with the slits. There are two slits, entrance slit and the exit slit. The main function of the entrance slit is to provide a narrow source of light so that there should be overlapping. There should be not overlapping of the monochromatic images. From this, the exit slit selects a narrower band of the dispersed spectrum for the observation by the detector. So there are two slits, entrance slits and the exit slits. The main function of the entrance slit is to provide a narrow source of light so that there should be overlapping. There should not be the overlapping of the monochromatic images. From this, the exit slit selects a narrower band of the dispersed spectrum for observation by the detector. So usual practice is the both entrance and exit slits have equal width. Under such condition, the width of the monochromatic images of the entrance slit is such that it will just be passed by the exit slit. So what is the role of exit slit and entrance slit? Entrance slit allows all the radiation, that is monochromatic radiation, and overlapping of the monochromatic images. From this entrance slit selects the narrower beam and dispersed spectrum for other observations by the detector. The usual practice is that both the entrance and exit slit have the equal width. Under such conditions, the width of monochromatic images of the entrance slit is such that it will be just be passed by the exit slit. So same slits, that is the width, are same for the exit slit and the entrance slit. Most of the instruments are provided with variable slit widths to give the instrument greater flexibility, and the entrance and exit slits are adjusted simultaneously to the same width. So most of the instruments are provided with variable slit widths to give the instrument greater flexibility, and the entrance and exit slits are adjusted simultaneously to the same width. So the width of the exit and entrance slits are simultaneously adjusted to the same width. Then the cells holding the sample, usually a solution, should be transparent to the wavelength region being recorded. So the radiation passes through the cell. For visible region, they are generally made up of the colored coated, that is what the fused glasses. The thickness of the cell generally 1 centimeter. Cell may be rectangular or cylindrical in shape, or cylindrical with the flat ends. A variety of sample cell available for the ultraviolet and visible wavelength region. The choice of the sample cell is based upon the transmission characteristics of the desired wavelength, the path length, shape, size, and relative expense. So the transmission characteristics of the various wavelengths depend upon the construction material. For instance, Pyrex transmits in the 320 to 250 nanometer range and the silica from 170 to 2500. So the glass and plastic may also be used in the visible, whereas KBR or some other such salt like material is necessary in the if it is infrared. So what is the type of what the cell sample cell? The sample cell are you what selected in with the different types of factor affects the selection of the sample cell. That is what the transmittance characteristic at the desired wavelength, the path length, shape, size, and the relative expense. So the transmission characteristics of the various wavelengths depends upon the construction materials. For instance, Pyrex transmits in the Pyrex glass, that is transmits in the region of 320 nanometer to 2500 nanometer range, and silica from 170 to 2500 nanometer. Glass and plastic may be also used in the visible, whereas KBR or some other such salt like material is necessary in the infrared. So the usual cell is rectangular container with a 1 centimeter path length. However, 5 or 10 centimeter long path lengths, which path length cells which are constructed of a tube with the window of the appropriate transmitting material are used with the solution of low solubility or low absorptivity. The circular cells similar to test tubes are available in the matched sets. Each cell is etched with the frosted lines. The cell holder is marked with a corresponding alignment guide in order to permit the necessary duplication of the sample orientation in the cell compartment. So such type of the cell, and what is the cell length or path length is 1 centimeter or 5 or 10 centimeter path length is the shapes are constructed depending upon tubular window shaped and that is circular cells similar to test tubes are also prepared by the etching is what the cell with the frosted lines, and the cell holder is marked with the corresponding alignment guide in order to permit the necessary application of sample orientation in the cell compartment. For work of the greatest accuracy, it is necessary to use either the same cell for the uh, blank and care taken to avoid the contamination of the transmitting surfaces. So the solution level must be considerably above the light beam which is passing through the solution in order to avoid the reflection from the upper surface. So the solution level is what facing to the path length or light path. All air bubbles must be removed prior to obtaining a measurement. So before doing the measurement, all the air bubbles must be removed. Each solvent is chosen on its ability to transmit light of the desired wavelength as well as its chemical property. For example, water may be used for the wavelength as well as low as 180 nanometer, but lower limit for acetone, that is 330 nanometer. More complete information on the solvent transmission range available in the art manufacturing recommendation as well as in the chemical literature. So what type of the solvent is used, it depend upon the type of spectrum recorded. So such type which type of the solvent is used for the making transmittance solution, so it is depend upon the material of the cell as well as the type of analysis. Then detection of radiation. Detector. In order to detect the radiation, three types of photosensitive devices are: photovoltaic cell, also called as barrier layer cell; phototubes, also called as photoemissive tubes; and photomultiplier tubes. All these types of the detector used, that is what the barrier cell or photovoltaic cell, phototubes, also called as photoemissive tubes, and photomultiplier tubes. So the first one is the photovoltaic cell. This cell is also known as barrier layer or photonic cells. Photonic cells. This cell is entirely different in the design and principle from the photoemissive cell. Photovoltaic cell operates without the use of battery. It does not require the battery. A typical photovoltaic cell is as shown in the figure. So this is photovoltaic cell. Then here what the component of the photovoltaic cells are there. It consists of a metal based plate like iron or aluminum, which acts on that is what which acts as an one electrode on its surface. A thin layer of the semiconductor metal like selenium is deposited. Such type of plate coating the transparent metal layer, selenium layer. So this is what acts as an electrode. This is contains a layer of the metal. So metal plate like iron or aluminum, which acts as an one electrode, which is what the covered with the metal plate. That is what nothing but metal plate is covered with the transparent metal layer of this or the selenium layer. Then the surface of the selenium is covered by a very thin layer of silver and gold, which acts as a second collector electrode. So this thin layer of the silver and gold transparent metal layer, which acts as a collector ring for the collector electrode. When the radiation is incident upon the surface of the selenium, electrons are what generated on a selenium silver interface. These electrons are collected by silver. The accumulation of the electrons on the silver surface creates an electrical voltage difference between the silver surface and the basis of the cell. And if the external circuit has low resistance, about 400 ohm or less, a photo current will flow, which is directly proportional to intensity of the incident radiation beam. So if this cell is connected to a galvanometer, a current will flow which will vary with the intensity of incident light. So what happen here? After light strikes on this electrode, the electron in between the selenium layer and metal layer, it get the excited, and this accumulation of the electron between the selenium and metal layer, it produces the voltage difference, that is potential difference, and with the help of this the small current, that is what photo current is, flows through the apparatus and such that photovoltaic tube. So which what photo current is measured by means of this galvanometer, and this galvanometer measures the current, and this current is directly proportional to the intensity of the incident light. That current flows is directly proportional to the intensity of that. So barrier layer cell offer the advantage of the being being rushed and requiring no external power supply. However, their use is generally limited to the visible region. The wavelength response is about 450 to 650 nanometer, is close to that of the human eye. High level of the illumination are required in order to avoid the problems of amplifying the output which arises from the small resistance of the external circuit. So, the advantage of this barrierless cell offers, that is what it does not require the power supply, external power supply, because it what works on the uh, what the photocurrent. So, but it is limited to the visible region. The wavelength response is very less, that is 450 to 650 nanometer, is close to that of the human eye. High level of illumination are required in order to avoid the problems of amplifying the output which arises from small resistance of the external circuit. Then some facts about the photovoltaic cell. Photovoltaic cells are sensitive over the whole visible region, but these cells are less sensitive in the blue region than in the green yellow. So it is sensitive in whole visible region, but it is very less sensitive in the blue region, while more sensitive in the green region. The current output of the photovoltaic cell depends upon the wavelength of the incident light. So the current produced by the photovoltaic cell cannot be readily amplified by conventional electronic circuits because of the low internal resistance. In general, photovoltaic cells show a fatigue effect. In these cells, the initial photocurrent is very higher and it attains a steady value after a few minutes. The fatigue effect can be minimized by careful selection of the optimum level of the illumination. Due to above mentioned advantages and disadvantages, photovoltaic cells are not used in the sophisticated spectrophotometers. However, they are used in the expensive filter photometers. So this is about the phototubes. Next, photovoltaic cell. Then next one is the phototubes. The phototubes, these cells are also known as photoemissive cells. A variety of sample cells are available for the ultraviolet and visible wavelength region. The choice of a sample cell is based upon the transmission characteristics at the desired wavelength, the path length, shape and size, as well as the relative expense. Then the first one is the, and then third, that the relative expense. A phototube consists of an evacuated glass tube or glass bulb. Inside the bulb there is a light sensitive cathode in the form of half cylinder of the metal. The inner surface of the cathode is coated with the light sensitive layer such as cesium or potassium oxide and silver oxide. A metal ring inserted near the center of the bulb acts as an anode. The below figure depicts the simple photo tube circuit. When radiation is incident upon the cathode, photoelectrons are emitted. These electrons are attracted and collected by the anode. Then these are returned via external circuit. Due to the flow of these electrons, there occurs a IR drop across that RL, which is proportional to the current. This current may be amplified by electronic means and is taken as the measure of the amount of light striking the photosensitive surface. So how this photovoltaic cells phototubes is there? The simple phototubes contains that is photoemissive cells. A variety of simple cells are available. So phototube consists of one evacuated glass bulb. This is evacuated glass bulb is there, and there is a light sensitive cathode. Here what the photocathode, that is it is light sensitive photocathode is there. Then in the form of half cylinder of the metal, the inner surface of the cathode is coated with the light sensitive layers such as cesium or potassium oxide and silver oxide. So this layer inner layer is what coated with the light sensitive material, cesium oxide, potassium oxide. Then this a metal ring inserted near the center of the bulb acts as a anode, and the yellow that is also this uh, metal ring inserted is the acts as an what anode. And when the radiation is incident upon the cathode, photoelectrons are emitted. These that these are attracted and collected by the anode, then these are returned via the external circuit. So when the light falls on this, that photoelectron gets emitted, and this photoelectron are attracted by means of this anode, and then this due to the flow of these electrons, there occurs a IR drop across the resistance RL. So here what the IR drop occurs, and this drop is directly proportional to the current, so and this current may be amplified by the electronic means and taken as the measure of the continuous light striking the photosensitive surfaces. So the cells as a phototubes have high internal resistance. Their output current can easily be amplified, and therefore these employed for the measuring low intensities of illumination. So the exact metal or metal oxide coating on the photoemissive cathode determines the wavelength response and the sensitivity. For example, a sodium coating is utilized in the 350 to 450 nanometer region. So other wavelengths quartz windows are required on when the radiation in ultraviolet. So it is visible used in the region of what 350 to 450 nanometer. And next one is the what photo multiplier tubes. So the sensitivity of the photoemissive cells, that is photocells, can be increased considerably by employing the photomultiplier tube, because here multiplication of the electron dianodes takes place. So simple photomultiplier tube is as shown in figure. So photomultiplier tube consists of an electrode covered with the photoemissive tube, also contains a large number of plates known as a dianodes. So such large number of plates known as a dianode. Then each dianode is covered with a material which emits several electrons, 2 to 5 electrons. Each dianode emits 2 to 5 electrons, several electrons. These electrons all get multiplied. Also each dianode is charged at a successive higher potential. A typical photomultiplier tube is shown in figure. When a light is incident upon the cathode surface, electrons are rejected. These are collected to the sensitive surface of the dianode, and when secondary electrons are emitted in the greater number than initially striking the plate, these electrons in turns are accelerated to a surface of the another dianode and maintained at the higher potential, whereas the number of electron again increased by the factor of 4 or 5. The process is repeated several times until a large number of electrons is falling on the collector. Measures the intensity of light incident on the cathode surface. Most photomultiplier tubes have about 10 diodes. each diodes. Each diode is maintained at about 75 to 100 volt more positive than the preceding diodes by a photomultiplier tube. The overall amplification factor of about 10 to the power 6 can be achieved as the output of the photomultiplier tube is only several milliamperes. It can be used to measure the intensities about 200 times weaker than those measurable with the photoelectric cells and amplifier. The response time of the photomultiplier tube is 10 to the power minus 9 seconds. So, a photomultiplier tube must be carefully shielded from the stray light. So, what happens here? See, first light strikes on this diode and the electrons are ejected from this diode, and this gets collected on the next diode with the different types of potential, and such multiplication of electron takes place in more times, and after this get what collected on the anode and intensity is measured, and the intensity is directly proportional to the electron on the photoelectron the diode, and this intensity is about 200 times weaker than those measurable with the photoelectric cell and multiplier tube. So this process is done several times, and this one of the instrument, that is photomultiplier tube, contains about 10 diodes, and each diode is maintained at 75 to 100 volt more positive than the preceding diode, and it multiplies the number of electrons, and the amplification factor of about 10 to the power 6 can be achieved as the output of photomultiplier tube is only several milliamperes. It can be used to measure the intensities about 200 times weaker than those measurable with the photoelectric cells and amplifier. The response time of the photomultiplier tube is about 10 to the power minus 9 seconds. A photomultiplier tube must be carefully shielded from the stray light. So this is about the instrumentation of the visible spectrometer. If you have any queries regarding